Did Canada cave to U.S. pressure? Washington is fuming as Canada put the U.S. on a list of human rights abusers. At issue is a manual used to instruct Canadian diplomats on how to recognize the signs of torture when they visit Canadians in foreign jails. The manual was inadvertently released to lawyers from Amnesty International working on a lawsuit involving alleged abuse of Afghan detainees by Canadians. The Real News spoke to the Secretary General of Amnesty International Canada, Alex Neve.
What has come to light is a manual from a training session that Canadian foreign affairs officials received, and these would be foreign affairs officials who, in the course of their consular work that they do abroad, on occasion may find themselves going into prisons to interview and look into the well-being of Canadian citizens who are imprisoned in foreign jail cells. And certainly one of the concerns that comes up in those cases, especially in some countries, is that those individuals may have been subjected to torture or ill treatment. And it came to light in the course of a lawsuit that we have underway challenging the Canadian government's approach to how they handle prisoners on the battlefield in Afghanistan.
Included in the manual is a list of countries that Canadian officials describe as countries and places with great risks of torture.
One of the things that was most remarkable was to see a list of countries which are considered to be countries where the risk of torture is a real one. And what has become controversial, of course, is that on that list are countries I suppose everyone would have expected to see, like Syria and Afghanistan. But also we see the United States, Guantanamo Bay in particular, and Israel. And that's what's become so controversial.
Incensed by the inclusion of the United States, U.S. Ambassador to Canada David Wilkins stated, "For us to be on a list like that is just ridiculous. Quite frankly, it's absurd."
The Canadian government has now distanced itself from these materials which of course weren't prepared at a political level, but were prepared by government officials. Amnesty International's own research over many years with respect to the situation in Israel, the situation at Guantanamo Bay, and other concerns about the prison system in the United States does reveal that torture and ill treatment is absolutely a very legitimate human rights concern in those countries.
One day after the public disclosure of the manual, Foreign Affairs Minister Maxime Bernier issued the following statement: "I regret the embarrassment caused by the public disclosure of the manual used in the department's torture awareness training. It contains a list that wrongly includes some of our closest allies. I have directed that the manual be reviewed and rewritten."
What we're seeing now is foreign policy considerations now standing in the way of doing the right thing on the human rights front. And that is very sad, because inevitably around the world, when politics, when foreign policy issues get mixed up in human rights issues, it's always human rights that are sold short, and it should be exactly the other way around.